Hey coaches, welcome back to Football Talk with Coach Chip. I'm going to be doing something a little different every week. I'll still, whenever it strikes my fancy, put videos out, but every Sunday or Monday during the season, I'm going to start a new thing, call it Troubleshooting. In Alabama, this past week was week 0, but troubleshooting after week 0, and so over the weekend, I've got the phone calls, I got text messages and emails from coaches all over the country about things that they saw, issues that arose. What can we do to fix this? What can we do to fix that? And you're more than welcome to do that as well. Just hit me up at siegel.chip@gmail.com, and that'll be up on the screen in just a little bit. But we're going to do that. I'm not going to say any names, any programs, any regions of the country. Just going to talk about some of the issues that coaches had, because it dawned on me this morning on my run. I was thinking about, I said, okay, I got to come up with something, but I don't want to be talking about installs and putting new stuff in now that the season is rolling. And then it just dawned on me. I said, well, I talked with those coaches this weekend. I can let them create my content. If they're having an issue with something, other coaches are probably having that issue as well. You know, with over 3,000 subscribers and probably 1,000 or so pretty faithful viewers, surely that handful of coaches aren't unique. Maybe they're just a microcosm of the rest of the coaches around the country and what they experienced in their first game of the season, whether it be your week 0, your week 1. I'm going to use the Alabama calendar simply because that's one I was on for 37 out of my 40 years. All right, opportunity to support Football Talk with Coach Chip. BuyMeACoffee.com. And I won't embarrass people with stuff like that, but I had a guy this weekend that bought me 5 coffees. That's $5. That was $25. And he didn't buy anything, didn't ask me to send him anything. He just said, and he wrote a note on the buymeacoffee.com/Coach Chip. I appreciate everything you do, the content you put out. You've really helped our program, helped our team. Thank you. Thank you. You know, it's not much, but I will definitely buy me something to drink with that. So you can support the YouTube channel with buymeacoffee.com, and you can support Football Talk with Coach Chip, the podcast, the same way. Be sure to click on the thumbs up right now and check to see if you're a subscriber. A lot of y'all aren't subscribed and you don't even know it because YouTube keeps having it pop up because you watch it all the time and their algorithm says, oh, he likes that. And it keeps popping up. There's a ton of things that pop up on mine that I don't subscribe to. I'm saying, why does this keep coming up? I only watch one video. Check and see if you're subscribed and go ahead right now. It really helps me. It helps the channel. And that means it helps everybody else. All right, find the podcast on Spotify, Apple, and most any other podcatcher, I reckon. Those are the 2 that I use. If you have an idea for a video on the channel or a podcast guest or a topic for the podcast, give me a holler. Just put up the one this weekend, the second part of our conversation with Mike D., the referee, who is the host of the Whistle Talk podcast. You can find it on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. I recommend you look at it on Spotify and YouTube because they have video. And he brings up clips and has his guests say, well, what is this? And he explains things. If you haven't heard that podcast, go check it out. The one I did with him, it was it came up this past Sunday morning and last Sunday morning, a 2-parter. And we talk about rules, National Federation rules. And if you're a high school coach or a youth league coach, you probably play under Federation rules. 48 of the 50 states are under Federation rules. Hit me up if you have any ideas and go check out the podcast. It was a great conversation. It'll get you through a workout, get you through a commute, get you through a run like a podcast do me. Not too late to get the summer freebie. Sample practice schedule. This includes different install plans for during the preseason. Also, it includes 1 platoon and 2 platoon practice schedules set up on 5-minute increments. And it's a Excel file spreadsheet where you get it and then you can take my stuff out. It's already set up. All you gotta do is type your stuff in. And that way you'll be organized. You don't want to waste your time, your assistant coach's time, your player's time and your player's parents' time, because the most precious thing we have is our time, and you don't want to waste it. And so make sure you have a plan. And every practice, we're going to work on this, 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 and this, and we're going to move on to this, okay? All right, the jet manual's out. The offensive line manual's still selling like crazy. Hit me up at siegel.chip@gmail.com. But order yours today at siegel.chip@gmail.com. And we also got all our freebies too, you know. So hit me up if you want to dive in there. We can Zoom. We can talk on the phone. But I'll be your consultant. And I'll help you with anything you need help with. And that's what today's all about too, this troubleshooting video. So let's get started. Let's go look at the 3 issues that I picked to talk about this week. There were more, but these were 3 that I thought, you know, there's other guys probably have the same issue. All right, let's get after it. All right, troubleshooting scenario number 1. Got a phone call from a coach. He says, Coach, he said, we've got a team this week that's probably going to give us a tight front. That's 2 4-eyes, and we run duo. What do you recommend? And so I got 3 slides dealing with this. Now, this is how you would run it based on the rules. Okay, you got the double on the back. Remember, I always start on the back side. It's duo right. You got the double right here. If this guy comes up, the tackle will come off and get him. Or you can just fan it, and I'll show you that too. Just let the guard get the 4-eye and let him just fan out. But if he doesn't come, that's just a waste of a lineman. You got a double right here between the center and the play side guard. They're comboing to the backside inside linebacker. If it's a 3-3 stack, they're going to combo to the mic that's stacked right here, like these guys would combo to the outside backer that's stacked right here, over here on the backside. And continuing on to the front side. Now, it's difficult. It's difficult. The 4-eye makes it difficult. If you stick with the rule, remember, it's gap down, buddy. So he looks in his gap. Yeah, the end's there. 4-eye is in his gap. So the tackle knows he's got him. He looks in his gap and there's nothing there. But it's a 4-eye, so that guy can potentially, now what is he trying to do? Is he trying to attack the inside shoulder of your play side tackle just to keep your tackle off the mic backer, off that backer on his side? Or is he shooting, sure enough, shooting the B gap? What is he doing? That's what you have to look at on film. Now, if he is just trying to attack right here and control the inside of your play side tackle, then your tight end can help. He can help if that guy does this. Now, if he does this, shoots that gap, then your tight end continues on to the mic. And you say, well, what do you do, Coach, if that Mike, we just call him Mike, you may not call him Mike. I call him Mike because Mike's our read guy on duo. What if Mike just does this before the tight end can get to him? That's why that running back arrow comes out here. Remember, the running back is reading the key backer. In this case, we call him the Mike. If that Mike inserts here, then he's going to run here and let him block himself. Now, you got the double team right here, maybe. If not, he'll climb to there. And then you got, of course, your H, your fullback, whatever it is you're kicking with. It's like power without a puller. It's what duo is. He's going to kick out that 9 tech right there, whether it be a DN or whether he be an outside backer that's walked up right here. And that's following the rules. All right. And it's doable. If your line can do it, it's doable. All right, let's look at another one. Now, we're still talking about duo. What if that backer is walked up on the backside? You just fan it. He looks at his buddy and says, hey, I got a fan, man. You're not getting any help from me. Okay? Because they have taken their 2-high safety and they've put that backer there and they rolled one down to go 2 over 2 to your twins. And you got this guy. So now they're playing a cover 3 for all intents and purposes. Or at least some kind of 1-high. So you got a fan, you got a fan. You still got the double right here. Double into that backside backer. Play side guard, center, double to the backside backer. Right here, this is when we tag it. And we ran duo. We ran regular duo, duo with the kick, duo with a lead, and what I call duo with a slice, where the H sliced to the backside and picked up the edge, kind of like people do with the zone. And then you have to block the 9 over here with your tight end. What we call duo lead. And you say, that's a tough block. Oh, guys, I can't control where they put their defensive linemen, and nor can you. Remember, I've told you before, football is the most democratic of all sports. Both sides get a vote every snap, and they vote to put him in a 4-eye. But here's what you got to tell your tackle. You get him. It don't matter. You can't, try to reach, beat him inside, whatever. Just get on him. Attack his inside number. If the guy's coming hard in here, just take him all the way down, and your running back will make you right. Remember, the running back is pressing right here, reading through to the mic. If he comes and clogs that up, then he's bouncing right to here, out to the B, maybe C gap. Does that make sense to you? All right, so he gets him no matter what. Long as long as you stay with that 4-eye play side tackle, you're good. Stay with him. We're going to read your block. And if that happens, then this guy, the lead guy, will have to see when that guy comes like this, and he'll come outside to get the mic, talking about your H or your F, whatever it is you're using. Now your tight end has got a turnout block right there. That's another way to do it against the 4-eye. And it depends. What kind of dude do you got playing this tackle right here? It does depend on that. Can he solo block that joker? You can. This is difficult. I didn't even tell the guy about this one because if you don't practice it on the norm, I do not like using the double teams with guys from 2 levels. Yes, they do it on Saturdays and Sundays, but it's not the best thing in the world for the younger offensive lineman and the younger insert H, F, whatever it is you call him. You could do that and keep your double team intact right here. Or just have him come through. It's up to you. And that way, if he fits over the top, your tackle comes off. But I didn't even tell him about that one because to me, that's just like nolo contendere, baby. No mas, no mas. All right, let's look at another one. All right, here's our third and final slide of Duo. Then we're going to move on. I'm going to show you some counter stuff that I talked with a guy about. You can pull the backside tackle, especially if they do this. I think if they play him out here, then you don't have to worry about him coming off the edge. Honestly, even if he's here, I think you can still do it. Because remember, these guys are not linemen. They're linebackers. They're used to playing in space, especially this early in the season. They're still in 7-on-7 mode, baby. They've been covering the flats all summer in 7-on-7. So even if he's walked up here, he's going to have to run like crazy to get there. And if that happens now, your boot's coming your boot's coming soon. But notice what we're doing. We're going to pull the backside tackle. You say, Coach, we talked about that before. You do it on your GT counter. It's no different. All right, he's going to fan. Backside guard's going to fan. You still got that double. Notice that double has not changed on any of the slides I showed you. Right here, combo into the backside backer. So your guard, play side guard, center, right there. All right, same thing now with your play side tackle and your tight end. Again, it depends on what he's doing. Is he coming in here? If he does, we're going to wash his fanny. All right, if he's playing hard on that inside shoulder, we'll get some type of a double team. Not much, but if the tight end gets in here and he can't get to him, tell him don't go chasing him in there. You don't have to do that. He can go right here because that safety is coming right there. All right, because you're getting this. Now, if this guy just comes washing in right here and bottles that up, muddies that up right in there, your tackle's going to have to go, your backside tackle may have to go around just like he does on counter. Or you could just tell your tight end, if that end disappears inside, that 4-eye disappears inside, then you go get Mike. That way you're guaranteeing you're getting him. Remember your priority level. Remember the hierarchy of blocking. First level, got to block linemen. Second level, linebackers. Third level, DBs. If they're making tackles, you're gaining yards. So you may not even want to worry about that safety. Tell your tight end he's doing his rule, blocking down in there. And if that guy disappears, go there. And you still got to play, because remember, what is your running back reading? He's reading the mic. That's his key. You still got the kick out right here on the outside backer of the 9-tech. That was my duo conversation. Then I had a coach hit me up, said, I got a really athletic center. He can pull. What do you think about pulling him on the GT counter and make it a CT counter? I said, it's wonderful. Michigan made a living pulling their center the last few years. And they'd run the CH counter and they'd run the CT counter. It was according to what the defense gave them. So why would you do that? Because it's a much easier block here for this guard to block that 3 than have that guy come all the way back on him. That's why they do it, because they're taking advantage of the angles. And I've told y'all before, I'm not crazy about pulling the center if it affects the snap. But if you got a good center that can pull and it doesn't affect the snap, more power to you. We've done it on buck. I've never done it on counter, but that doesn't mean anything. Like I said, Michigan made a living doing it, and they got the bling to back it up. Well, then he asked, well, who's going to get the run through if they run through back here? And I said, well, the way we always got the run through was with the wrapper. He had to have his eyes on the second level. If he comes, boom, he's got him. And then the question was, well, he's got backside backer. The play side tackle here's got backside backer. If he does this, then he's blocking air. And he was right. While the tackle is getting the run through, the pulling tackle is getting the run through. So what in the world are we going to do? Guys, you got to break your rule. That's all I can tell you. We made a near call. And you can't make it once the ball's snapped. It's got to be a thing. So if you're playing a team that's going to do a lot of run throughs, you tell your tackle that week on counter, get the near side backer. If they run this defense, this 4-2, 4-4, whatever you want to call it, we're only worried about the 4-2 right here with the lineman. He's got to get that near backer, the one on his side. Then, your tackle's responsible for the backside backer. He'll get him if he runs through, and he'll get him if he doesn't run through on his wrap right there. That's because run-throughs are going to happen. And I told him, I said, if you didn't pull the center, if you pulled the guard, you're still going to leave the run-through open. The run-through would just be here. I think I got a slide for that. All right, here's what I was talking about. Notice if we do it traditional, GT, and the center blocks all the way back to the 3, and the guard pulls and the tackle pulls. Notice the run-through is still there. Instead of being here, it's here. You follow me? So there's always going to be, when you pull 2 linemen, you're always going to have a chance of a run-through when you pull a lineman. You got more of a chance of a run-through when you pull 2 linemen. Take it from an old buck sweep guy. All right, so it's going to happen. So teams that like to do that, film study, really against these even front teams when you get this issue right here. If they're going to fire that Mike backer when he sees pull to run through, and I've seen teams try to do that on power and buck, and they'll do it on counter. The tackle has got to come off his wrap pull to pick that up, or he's going to have a free runner right here. That's why you make that near call, whatever it is you want to call it, letting that tackle know that's the way you block it that week. You say, well, what if he doesn't come? The same thing I told you a while ago. The backside tackle on his wrap pull will get that mic when he comes there. So you just tell him. So and you may want to change the way you block counter. Instead of doing it true gap down backer and him going to the backside backer every time, have him go on that reduced side over here, the side that's got the guy in the A gap, the D lineman in the A gap. Say, hey, when you see that, you've got the near backer, because there's that chance of a run through on the backside A gap. Let's look at one more. Now this is radical for me. Not really, but if you know how devoted I am to gap down backer. And if you're deep in gap down backer and you don't want to do this, that's fine. But doing the dart, there's nothing wrong with that. To make sure if you've got issues with run-throughs, just tell everybody they got the first man to the backside, whether it's a linebacker or not. So play side tackle is going to get that backer. Play side guard is going to get that nose. Center is going to fire to that mic right there. He may want to cut release like this In case he doesn't come, he scrapes over the top, and as he comes off, see what I mean? Come like that and get him. And if he comes, break it off and get him right there. All right, then you fan the tackle, and of course you got to read that backside end right there. And then you'll pull and kick. And if you want to devote it, make it like GT counter, and you'd rather not have your tackle kicking because he always wraps, you just make a stay call, tells your guard to stay, and you let him wrap, and then this tackle right here fans, the play side tackle will fan the 5 tech, and he'll wrap right here to this wheel backer. All right, those are 3 things you can do to stop the run-throughs. Right off the top of my head when the guy emailed me this weekend. All right, let's look at one more, and this one's going to really surprise you. All right, if you're not sitting down, you may want to sit down. Or if you're driving, you may want to pull off. Here's a defensive tip from Coach Chip. Didn't mean to rhyme that time, but it is what it is. The guy had an issue. He said Friday night, his ends ran up the field the entire game. And he's new to this program. It's a high school program. He's new to it. And they never squeezed before. I think they were a 3-3 stack team, and they just blitz people blind. And he's an even front team. He's an even front coach. He teaches technique. And he said, I said, well, you're into the season. You can keep practicing squeezing, but here's what you can do. And this goes back, and I've told some of y'all that have watched Football Talk with Coach Chip now for the whole 4 years we've been on, know that one time I did coach defense. Just the last 20 years of my career, I coached offense. And to be honest with you, then the spread revolution came, and they kind of left me in the wayside with all the different coverages they use now, but I'm still good with the fronts. That hasn't changed. But what I told him to do was cock those jokers. Put them in 5s or 9s if they got a tight end, and tell them run through the ear hole. Run through the ear hole. Don't drastically, cock, maybe 45 like this. You may be able to do it without cocking them. Okay, you may be able to just, do it like this. Make them squeeze. It's like my old philosophy about linebackers that won't fit where they're supposed to fit. Blitz them. So the same philosophy that I used when I coached defense and linebackers wouldn't fit, you fire them. And what you do is you tell them to go, and then once you get them used to a going, then you teach them a delayed blitz. But y'all listen to me. It's a way to get – because listen, we don't coach those kids, those guys you see on Saturday and Sunday. Don't expect them to play like that 44 played for Georgia Tech this past week in the game in Ireland. You're playing a kid that's 15, 16, 17 years old. You sub-varsity guys are playing 12 and under linebackers. It goes against human nature to run your butt up in there, okay? Not everybody is a hired killer, which is probably good. Makes the world safer. So what we would do, once we got them used to firing, we said, okay, now we're going to do a delayed blitz. They said, all right, Coach, what is that? And whatever your key is, whatever your trigger is for your defense, if it's a guard pulling, go. If it's a center blocking back, if this center blocks back, and you want that guy fitting right here, tell him that's your key. That's your trigger. So when the ball's snapped, the offensive line will tell you where to blitz. So I used that philosophy for a long time. All right, so now, back to the defense. Defensive ends. Have those jokers run through the ear hole. He said, well, should I tell them to run through the hip? I said, no. I said, because they're probably going to go too deep anyway. So what you want to do is tell that joker, run through his ear hole right here and bend it. Tell you, if that guy blocks down, this guy here blocks down, then you'll bend it. Right there. And say, don't worry about making tackles, because you're going to make tackles. You're going to run everything away from you down, and you're going to blow up everything coming to you if they're pulling guards, this is very good against gap scheme teams. He said they can, once the other team figured out his DNs were going to run up the field, he said they countered him. He said the whole second half they countered him. Good thing his offense was on, because they got in the shootout and almost won it. But they were just kickbait. Is what I call them. You've heard of clickbait on the internet? When your DNs run upfield, they're kickbait, baby. So what do? If you have to call it every time, coach, because maybe there's sometimes you don't want to do it because you want him rushing the passer like on 3rd and long. Maybe have a signal. Have the D-line coach. Every time you want him to do that, whatever it is you want to do, to have him do it, run through the ear hole. And that will get him where you want him to be. If they're pulling the guard on the power, kicking out with the H on power or the fullback, he's going to blow him up. He'll be there. At least he'll cut the hole down and bounce the thing, which is what you want. Or if they're running counter and they're kicking with the guard, do that. So that's a defensive tip from Coach Chip. If they won't do what you tell them to do, stun them into it, whether it be linebackers, whether it be D linemen. If you want those DNs to squeeze and they flat out refuse to squeeze, say, hey, I got something good we're going to do this week. I'm going to give you a chance to make some tackles. And you put in this cool call for them, this cool signal, and say, here's what we're going to do. So you're going to run right through here and blow everything up. We did it. We did it in high school. I remember Coach called it bullets. And it's something he may have done it for me. I don't know. Running right through there. Just blowing that guy up right through there. And if they're running buck, counter, power, you get him where you want him right there. He's squeezing and doesn't even know he's squeezing. He's squeezing through the ear hole. So that guy's coming off and blocking down right here. And your guy right here is going through the ear hole. Tell you, when that guy blocks down and you see it, then bend it. Bend it right there. That's all you got to do. Will it work? It worked for me. Does it work every time? No. Because, we're dealing with human beings. We're dealing with teenage boys. We're dealing with preteen boys. It is what it is. But give them a chance. Give your team a chance. Put a stun in. Stun them to where you want them to be. And so put in that pinch stunt, bullet stunt, squeeze stunt, whatever you want to call it. Come up with some cool name. The kids go, oh, yeah, man. And just have him go, and that gets him there. You're really good at film study, and okay, on this down, they predominantly run power or counter. That's a great time to do it. Like I said, if it's 3rd and long, you don't want to do it. Tell the guy, go get the quarterback. But this will get him where he needs to be. All right, coaches, that's it for this week. We're going to do it every week, every Sunday or Monday throughout the season. We're going to do troubleshooting. Next week will be week 1. Troubleshooting after week 1. This has been troubleshooting after week 0. Remember, offensive line manuals still available. Jet manuals available. They've sold like crazy this summer. The Jet manual's doing well. It's 222 pages. If you're running Jet and you don't like the way it looked in 0 week or your week 1, your first game, maybe you want to look into this. I'll send it to you. If it's what you need, you like it, then you pay me. You can't beat that. I'm going to give it to you to peruse. And if you like it, say, oh, I like this. Then you pay me. If you don't, you delete the cockeyed thing. But you keep listening and watching Football Talk with Coach Chip. I'm here for you. Give me a holler at siegel.chip@gmail.com. Be sure to like it, subscribe to it. Here's a list of the free resources available to you from Football Talk with Coach Chip. All you got to do to get any of these is subscribe. So, until next time, till we're troubleshooting again, and hit me up if you need me to help you troubleshoot. You may wind up, your trouble, your issue may wind up on next week's episode. All right, guys, be elite.